Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukascha Yekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhrumaketur Ganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Vakratundaha Surpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvadaha Suklam Baradharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannapadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopasanteye Yasyad Vaktradhya Parishadhya Parastasam Vignum Vignanti Satatam Vishwaksenam Tamasraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Aklishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedhyaya Gurave Buddhisakshine Krishnadvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvabhutahite Ratam Vedabhyabhaskaram Bande Samadhi Nilayam Munim Janmadhyasya Yataha Anbayat Yitaratascha Artheshu Abhignah Swarat Tene Brahma Hridayah Adikavaye Mukhyanti Yat Surayah Tejo Varimridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Niratta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharmaha Pochida Kaitavotra Parabo Nirmat Saranam Satam Vedhyam Vastavam Akravastu Sivadam Tapatrayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrute Kimva Parairishvaraha Shradhyo Hrudi Avarudhyatehe Atra Krutibihi Susrushibihi Takshanate Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Palam Sukamukat Amrita Dravasam Yutam Vibhata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasikaha Bhuvi Bhavukaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Now, with Bhagavan's grace, let us continue from where we left off yesterday. We have come up to Slokam 71 in Adhyayam 26, Skandam number 3. In this Adhyayam, Swami explains to us how creation is happening. Every moment, even the Kshanam, for example, how it is happening. Because remember, Kalam distributions, time disturbs the equilibrium of the three gunas. And so every Kshanam, every moment, so to speak, so the equilibrium of our three gunas are being disturbed. And that is why our own behavior is not constant. It's never constant, right? Sometimes we are very sattvic, sometimes we are very angry and very rajasic, sometimes we are extremely aggressive, sometimes we are lazy, right? Sometimes we misunderstand people. So the gunas are being disturbed, the equilibrium is disturbed, so the creation is taking place continuously, every moment. How is it, what are the various components, so to speak, that go into it? Swami talks about it. And then he says all these various components and all these things really cannot do the creation. There is something else required, and that is Kshetrajna. The Kshetrajna must will that it must take place. That is why we came up to the point in 70, and when the 71, the example is given how when you go to bed, even though I'm breathing in, we all think Pranan is a Jiva Shakti. No, it is not. The Pranan is just a supplier of oxygen to the blood, and the body keeps moving, but there is something else. What makes the Pranan stop? Think about it for a second, right? So when we go to a deep sleep, even though I have Pranan, I have mind, I have Buddhi, I have Indriyangal, I have my body, and everything is there, All the things are there, but they're not enough to wake me up the next day. Something else is required. Like the cosmic body requires, it's essential that it's being activated by the Kshetrajna in order for the creation to happen. Now, the question comes, what is Kshetrajna? Kshetrajna is the one, Jna means at the end, Jna, one who knows. Kshetrajna, one who knows the Kshetra. And what is a Kshetra? All the things we have talked about, only Kshetra only. So then we took up Bhagavad Gita, Adhyayam 13, where this subject is being taught to us in some detail by Bhagavan. And because the question comes, and once I understand what these are all, even though they're fascinating, absolutely fascinating, the Pancha Mahabhutanga, the question of Ahamkaram, the question of Mahatsattvam, Prakriti, the three Gunangal, everything is fascinating, absolutely, right? The sense of touch, the sense of smell, so many things are there. Everything is fascinating to know that they're all part of Kshetra. That's not where the real knowledge is. They're all creation. You have to know the Creator. So Arjuna asked the question, Krishna, please tell me, what is this Kshetra and what is the Kshetrajna? What is this Prakriti and what is the Purusha? Right? And then what is the actual knowledge? What is Jnanam? And who is the knower of the knowledge of? So these three questions were asked by him. And then Swami says, yeah, sure. And Kshetra is the this body, this embodiment. So many embodiments are there in this world. Each one of them is a Kshetra. The one who knows that this is only a Kshetra is a Kshetrajna. That is what people who really know about Kshetra and Kshetrajna, they all say that. And you know what? All embodies, Arjuna, please know that I am the Kshetrajna. I am the Kshetrajna. Please know this. And the knowledge about Kshetra and Kshetrajna, what is it, Jnanam? What is it, knowledge, Jnanam? That itself is the real Jnanam. This is my opinion. So he says what Kshetra is and what Kshetrajna is. And then he also defines what Jnanam is. The Jnanam, the knowledge about both the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna is the real knowledge. This is my opinion. Then this Kshetram is the embodiment. What is it? How many types? What types are there? And in how many different ways that it appears? And where it has come from? What is arisen from what? I am born to my mother. But is that the real birth? But what is it? What has come from what? Right? And all these Kshetrajna have come from something. And that is Kshetrajna. Who's the Kshetrajna from whom all these have come? And what is his prabhavam? All those briefly hear from me now, he says. Then he says, this Kshetrajna has been praised and worshipped and sung the glory of in so many ways by the rishis. This truth has been, Vedangal have pointed this out in so many different ways, individually, separately, so many different ways. So each one of us can at least understand it in some way, So it is all done. And I think Vedangal have established it. That is, Nishchitaihi, established it without doubt, certainly, with certainty. And all those Padangal, Rishigal has spoken about, this Visvam Vishnu Vashatkaro, when we say that, for example, each Padangal, okay, Sagasrati Risha Purushaha, each Padam, Sagasrati Risham, or even if you take Bhagavad Gita itself, right, that every Padam only points to this Kshetrajna. Okay, that is what it has been given. Up to that point we can. Now, Swami is going to describe what Kshetra is in 5 and 6. And then from 7 through 11, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, those 5 slokangal, Bhagavan will tell us what is jnanam. And interestingly, the characteristics are given. Okay, and then Swami will take us to very beautiful slokam, amazing slokam. It is number 13. That says, Sarvatah Panipadam Tat Sarvato Kshishiro Mukham Sarvatah Sutimalloke Sarvam Avritya Tishtati. That's a beautiful slokam that is coming up. Talks about Kshetrajna. Okay? So we'll take up 5 and 6 with Swami's grace today. Mahabhutani ahamkaraha buddhihi avyaktam evacha indriyani dasaikam cha pancha cha indriya gocharaha ichhadveshaha sukham dukkham sangataha cha sangataha chetana dhrutihi etat kshetram samasena savikaram udahrutam. Mahabhutani ahamkaraha buddhihi avyaktam evacha indriyani dasaikam cha pancha cha indriya gocharaha ichha dveshaha sukham dukkham sanghataha chetana dhrutihi etat kshetram samasena savikaram udahrutam. Mahabhutani, the Mahabhutangal, the Pancha Mahabhutangal, what we call natural elements, Akasam, Vayu, Agni, Apu, Prithvi, right? Jalam, or Apu is water. So those 5, Mahabhutani, Ahamkaraha, Ahamkaram, I am the doer, that feeling the feeling of I that is attached to my body and mind. The aham is beautiful. The aham is fantastic. But I am attaching the aham to the wrong entity. That's where the ahamkaram comes in. The aham is aham brahmasmi. If I attach myself, I align myself that I am Brahma himself, I am God, right? Then there is no ahamkaram there. So ahamkaram is a feeling that I operate where I think I am this body, I am this mind, right? So this is my mind, this is my body. When I say that, I'm separating my body and mind from myself, but I don't realize it. I never say I am this body. I say this my body. My body is healthy, we say. When they make the statement, the fact I'm saying my body, that means this body is different from me, isn't it? Like saying my clothes is different from me. But I make a mistake of attaching myself mentally to this body and mind and buddhi. That is ahamkaram. I am the one who's doing everything. This body is mine, that feeling. Buddhihi, we saw that very definition. Buddhi has got several characteristics. Fundamentally, it understands the quest to understands with doubts, understands with certainty. It is also memory and the wisdom. And it also, understanding with the certainty means it also discriminates between the temporary and the permanent. That is very important. Okay? That is buddhi. Avyaktam evacha. Avyaktam means something that is beyond the ability to understand. So, that is Bhagavan. Indriyani dasa ekancha. Dasa ekam. That ekadasi we say, 11. 11 indriyani, indriyangal. What are the 11 indriyangal? Again, 5 senses of perception. We know that, right? sense of smell, sense of sight, sense of touch, like that. Then there are 5 senses of action, which is seeing, hearing, talking, the speaking, and procreating and excreting. 5 senses of action. The 11th one, Ekaicha, the Dasaika, 11th one, sometimes mind is also considered as an indriyam. Okay? So here, indriyani dasaikancha includes the 10 senses of the perception, action, as well as the mind. Pancha cha indriya gocharaha. Indriya gocharaha. The senses of perception, they go after something. My eye cannot look inwards. It is always looking for things that it can relate to and touch outside in the outside world. That is gocharaha. These are the tanmatrehal. We saw that. Okay, 5 tanmatrehal. Then icha dveshaha. Icha, desire, something I like. Hey, I like this. Dveshaha, I don't like it. Likes and dislikes. Okay, dvesham also means hatred and all that. But that all comes from dislike. Icha dveshaha. Sukham dukkham. You all know that. Sanghataha. Sanghataha. All these put together is a body. That's sanghataha. Dhrutihi. This chetana dhrutihi. This chetana we saw is the Jivan Sakti in us, in this body. Right? That Jivan Sakti, what we call as life force, if you want to call it that way, that is chetana. Dhrutihi. All these there is a supporting element there. An invisible, very much real, present. We all know that, right? Even the life force is supported. My life is supported by something else. My ability to see is supported by something else. Isn't it? That supporting dharana, sakti, that power, that divine power. Yetat, all these, this combination, etat, savikaram, with the various varieties. This is not just one combination. There's a variety of combinations these 24 things do. Okay, when you add it up, it will come to 24. These 24 aspects, they do not give you just one entity. There are so many varieties and constantly changing also. That is savikaram. Etat savikaram. Kshetram samasena, very briefly. Kshetram udahritam. It is these, the combination, the grouping of these is called Kshetram very briefly. Briefly speaking, this is what Kshetram is. Temporary, transient, impermanent, always changing. These are all characteristics of Kshetra. Okay? So even when my thought, for example, there is even the thought I have today or what I had, say, 20 years ago, I don't have that thought today. Where did the thought go? It is not permanent. What I'm thinking today may not be there next week, may not be there tomorrow or 10 years from now. It's all impermanent. Everything, even my feeling towards people, even my feeling towards the things I possess, for example, they also change. You buy a new car, you're very much attached to it. What happens to that maybe after 6 months, after a year? The same car is there. But the likes and the dislikes, the feelings of attachment, everything is temporary, transient, always changing. This is the characteristic of Kshetra, that is all these 24 elements put together. Okay? So that is a definition of Kshetra. Now you realize all the slokangal, the 69 slokangal that we have talked about, or the 70th is explained in this adhyayam, which was so intellectually so stimulating and inspiring and satisfied our curiosity, is actually nothing. It is temporary. It's all, there is nothing there. Okay, that is what Kshetra is. Then Bhagavan is going to talk about it, explain Jnanam. Then it's very important. The way Swami is teaching us is beautiful. Okay, leading us by hand. Now that I have an idea of what this so-called Kshetram is, this creation is. Creation is nothing but a Kshetram. Then what should I really know? What should I really know? And if I'm living in this Kshetram, how can I develop a knowledge, the true knowledge, Jnanam, and what is it that I should be like, so that I know Kshetrajna. The question Kshetrajna has been used a few times. Who is this Kshetrajna? What is his prabhava? Bhakti Swami is going to tell us that. But that's what all the Vedangas talk about, all this, the Bhagavatam, everything, every padam that is used in description is only pointing to the Kshetrajna, but I don't see him. I don't experience him. How can I know him? That jnanam is going to be described in the next 5 slokas. Okay? Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshantihi, arjavam, acharya upasanam, saucham, stairyam, atma, vinigraha. I'm going to read all the 5 slokas, and then we will take up the meaning in the next class with Swami's grace. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, shantihi, arjavam, acharya upasanam, saucham, stairyam, atma, vinigraha, indriyarteshu, vairagyam, anahankaraha, yevacha, janma mrityu jara vyadhi, dukkha, doshanu, darsanam, asaktihi, anabhishvangaha, putradara, grihadishu, nityamcha, samachit tattvam, ishtanishta upapattishu, mayicha, ananya yogena bhakti avyabhicharini, vivikta desa sevitam aratihi, jana samsadi, adhyatma jnana nityatvam, tatta jnanartha darsanam, etat jnanam iti proktam, etat jnanam iti proktam. This is described as jnanam. Ajnanam yat ataha anyatha. Whatever is not this, whatever is different from this, is ajnanam. That is the way Swami describes that in 7 to 11. Slokam 7 to 11. That with Bhagavan's grace, we will take up tomorrow. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.